presented by PrizePicks. $100 match on your first deposit and live from Las Vegas. Well, 50% live from Las Vegas. I am in my hotel room right now at a god-awful hour early in the morning, and Andy is back in the Bay. Welcome to Light Years, everyone.
I don't think I've ever on a Sunday morning seen anyone as alive as you are in Vegas. Kudos to you, because I know you didn't sleep in 9 hours. I know I know that. So shout out to you, man. How's Vegas Summer League?
I love Summer League. You are right. I did take some precautionary measures last night. I made sure to eat a lot of food right before bed, which different issues. My stomach doesn't feel great, but my head is not pounding, which is what really matters here right now. No, man, it's great. Like I feel like this Summer League has been it's like lacking sizzle because there's not the big time prospects like the Wemby or Chet or stuff like that. But it's still Summer League. It's still fun. It's still like being able to like go sit 4 rows from the court, see NBA players, network. Like, by the way, at least 10 different people asked where you were. No one wants to talk to me. Everyone's like, "Hey, why is Andy not here?" I'm just like, I think it's mostly because I'm always at these sort of things. So they're always like, "Man, fuck, I always have to see you," but Andy's always hiding.
That's I got a feeling, and this is what people have told me, that Warriors fans make up really a large majority of these fans. I haven't been to Summer League in 7 years, 7+ years. It's been a while for me, but I remember.
You went with me during 2021.
4 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah,
that's right. That is true.
Pandemic year. It was the Kuminga year. So
pandemic year. Yeah.
Well, I mean that was the weirdest one, just because it was you still had to wear a mask everywhere you went. It was half. It was basically half restriction. So it was just, I don't know. It was just bizarre relative to every other time, right? So
wear a mask. Meanwhile, you're at the club with thousands of random people. You gotta love it. You gotta love Vegas.
Yeah, everyone's got like the mask half down, like it's a fucking chin strap or something. You're like being safe, whatever. Hey, I didn't catch anything I didn't get COVID that one, so I must have done something right. What I was gonna say though is there was a lot of Warrior fans there. I think the general theme I see at Summer League is Laker fans most, and proximity to LA, the weekend trip, it's the easiest. Definitely the number one fan base you see. Number 2 is Warriors. You see a ton of Warrior jerseys all over the place, all ages. That's always the fun thing too. You see like the kids who are, somewhere between 10 and 15, but then you also see like 40-plus-year-old adults and everything in jerseys. They travel well. Good turnout because they got the crappiest time slot. Like, just to give people an idea, nobody wants to be in the Thomas and Mack Center at 9 at night on Saturday night in Vegas. Like, the ideal time for your team to play is sometime between 3 and 6. Not so early that you have to rush waking up, but like not so much that it eats into wanting to do stuff in Vegas at night. It's like the perfect 4 or 5 p.m. activity in Vegas.
Yeah, they were late last night. I know we'll talk about it. They were playing at freaking almost through 10 o'clock, man. They're already gambling. But that's what hardcore fans do, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Warrior players showing up there in their club attire. I'm like, I know exactly where you guys go. You guys go to get dinner after this, so you can have some fun after this game.
Strong was there.
Yeah. Strong Warriors contingent. Wiggins was there. Kuminga.
Wiggins was there. Wow.
Looney was there. Oh. By the way, Looney, best dressed guy on the Warriors, still true. Just A+. Always has like the best fit going off there. JTA was sitting with the Warrior people as well. I wonder what he's doing, because I think he's pretty much retired as a player. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up getting like a role as like an assistant coach or something like that. And it was fun. They were all sitting there courtside, and then obviously had like the Warriors contingent, the front office people, Kirk Kent-Lacob, like all those guys there. So it was cool to see them support the Summer League team.
I mean, this might be the best Warriors Summer League team that's ever been put together. That Draymond team back in the day
the Draymond team was good.
Yeah, but this is something. They're beating the crap out. They're beating the piss out of teams.
Yeah, and they're using Pods as a pure point guard for the most part. Like we've already talked about it, but like they clearly want Summer League. They're like, bro, play like a first option with the ball in your hands. Like it's Summer League. We just want to see what you can and can't do. Work on your shot. Work on running everything. I thought last night's game, like there was a couple times where I was like, ooh, he's got to tighten up his handle a little bit here. little ball pressure getting to him, a couple like bad turnovers, but overall shot looked good and he looked really comfortable running the team there.
That's I was impressed. I think the last show I was talking about, like, 30, would like to see him get 30 points. Then as I was watching the game, it became pretty clear that he's not looking to hunt the amount of points that they're scoring, but his usage rate is really high. Like what you're saying is they have him on ball and they have him really like doing everything, not just shooting, but determining where the play goes at all times. Every play is kind of a high pick and roll when he gets the ball up top. Had a bunch of assists. Honestly, he should have had more than, I think he ended up like 16, 7, and 7, but he should have had 10 assists easily. Just it's Summer League. Some of the guys he's playing with like aren't able to catch the ball, aren't able to finish. But he was getting in the lane kind of at will, which dude, we did not see that last season. Last season, it was Summer League was, I was like, oh man, like can he get to a shot? Can he get to a spot? Actually, it may be even more important.
Oh, he looked so overwhelmed last summer. Yep. Yeah.
It was easy last night. It was easy. He got to whatever he wanted to do. he almost did anything. The handle, you're right. That's why they start picking him up full court. But I mean, he was fine. I mean, it was really impressive. It really was. He shouldn't be playing any more games, but hopefully he does. At least I'll get to watch some. But
since I'm here tonight, I hope they play him tonight. But I'm assuming they won't. I don't know. We'll find out. The other thing I will say about Pods, since it apparently is always an online discussion, he's bigger than people think. He's definitely
so what
put
is he,
on
6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". What is he?
Oh, he's a legit 6'4", 6'5". He's a legit 6'4". I mean, his pre-draft measurement was 6'4" without shoes. But when I'm saying big, because like ultimately the difference between 6'2" and 6'4", like it's not really that substantial. What matters is like how big he is. Like he's a little broader than you think. Like he's put on some size. He plays a little bigger than you'd expect. It's still kind of a combo guard in general, but I really don't think size is that much of a limiting factor for him. He's going to continue to put on muscle. Like I guess my big take on it is like he's probably gained 10 pounds since last year would be my guess, just eye testing it, bigger shoulders than he had last year. Like all stuff like bodes well to, and also probably what you want to see. He was 20 years old. Like he should get stronger and bigger over the next 3 years. Right.
Yep.
So
that's exciting. I mean, that helps, I think, both defensively, because defensively it's still for him a matter of like quickness. Can he get to the right spots? But then he's smart enough to know. I mean, he took a couple charges yesterday. Hilarious. Taking charges in Summer League. Just get the stuff. I mean, look at him, man. Beast. Who does that? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's the reality with him too. Like he's not going to develop a lightning first quick step. Right. Like it's not happening. So he needs to get stronger and just basically be smarter than everyone to beat people to spots defensively, because he has to overcome some physical limitations on that sense. But, I thought it was positive. I also like the other guys they put together on this team.
Yes.
Like Daquan Plowden was probably the one who stood out most to me. I could see him getting a two-way spot. That dude can fucking shoot. And he's listed at 6'6", probably more 6'5", but he's not 6'2". I'll put it that way. Like he's probably taller than Buddy Hield. He definitely plays like a shooter a little bit. I could see them putting him on a two-way. They can never have too many shooters. That's my big take.
Well, they didn't have the two-way guy play. I forget his name, Reese or Beekman. Oh, he's in the DNP right there. Yeah, I was going to say I didn't see him play, so maybe he'll play tonight or he's hurt or something like that. Also, the late second-round pick, the big dude, Quentin Post, isn't playing yet, right? So,
correct. That kind of sucked. I wanted to see him. Like it would
Baby
be fun,
Joker.
right? So,
I want to see Baby Joker. So maybe he'll play when TJD and Pods take the rest of the Summer League off. But Back to your point about Daquan Plowden. First off, freaking incredible name. Daquan Plowden. Just that's absurd. And he's jumping over the rim. I mean, he made 3 threes, but also jumping over the rim. I don't know. Sam, I felt like the Warriors put together a team that felt like a real basketball team. It's not a Warriors criticism. It's just an NBA thing. It's just nobody ever puts together real teams because it's not what the summer league's for. Nobody gives a shit about winning games in summer league. Everyone's trying to like put together teams. They're just trying to find 1 or 2 right guys that they can keep. But Warriors put together like a real like, hey, they know how to play defense. They know how to play help defense.
They look like they've actually practiced and played with each other, which is more than I could say for the Suns. I don't think the Suns guys knew each other's names. Like that was not good on that end. Yeah, no, they take it seriously. Like you could tell they want to get some of these guys into Santa Cruz. Jackson Rowe was the other guy who stood out to me. I think he's 6'7", honestly. Like he played like a tweener 3-4. He could shoot the ball a little bit. He had a nice dunk in the game. But he was on Santa Cruz last year. All that's to say is like, hey man, if they can get a couple guys on 2-ways who, you know, you don't want them playing every night, but like knowing that you have that opportunity if someone's out of lineup for a couple games, like it's important, you know.
Has Plowden been around or is he a rookie too? So, like, are these guys? Because the guy that you mentioned has been a G League guy. I wonder if, because then who's the other guy that they drafted or that they traded for a pick for? What's his name? Lindy Waters. Like that's another guy I think to your point.
Well, he's an actual NBA real contract player. So
yeah,
that's a different thing. Daquan Plowden, he wasn't drafted, but his draft year was 2022. So this is like his third year. He's 24. He's 25. Gonna be turning 26 before the season starts. 4-year college player trying to kind of make his way through the G League, that type of thing. You know the type. I mean, it's like, honestly, that's like the JTA story. That's the Damian Lee story. That's the GP2 story. Those guys are obviously like the highest level of success for those type of guys, right? But, those guys all played really important roles for the Warriors over the years. So, Daquan Plowden was a guy who popped to me where I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up making the real roster. Ended up on a 2-way and then ended up on like a real contract in a year or two, the way that like a guy like Damian Lee did,
How about and this is a guy I think the Warriors fans' names will know immediately. How about Kevin Knox? He played a little bit. How about him? He's a still young-ish guy who's been around the block.
What I was gonna say is I was surprised how young he still is, because I feel like he got drafted like a decade ago, and then all of a sudden, it never happened for him. But like, he's still just 24. He's same age as TJD, which is kind of hilarious if you think about it. 2 different career trajectories, right? Like maybe he would have been better off doing the 4 years in college and refining his game. Dude, he's huge. He's like pro. I could see why he was a lottery pick, man. Like, because he's built exactly like what you want an NBA wing to be. Like, he's definitely like more 6'8", 6'9" than 6'5", like he was bigger than all those other guys. He's a freak athlete. I don't know. He didn't really stand out to me though, nearly as much as the other guys we were talking about. Plowden and Rowe were the ones where I was like, oh, I could see these guys becoming, 2-way guys who end up playing themselves into a role over the next year or two.
I think maybe one thing that's interesting is, on a meta level, or the Warriors, do you see any type of shift with the way they're creating these rosters? Because it feels like more wing heavy, right? And you can argue maybe they've always been like that, but it feels like the last few years they've shifted to like 4-guard lineups. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of guards, or like there's no bigs. Now there's no bigs on this roster either, but the more kind of like ready-made 2-way-ish wings that they can put together, the better, right? Because it does feel, and the same with the big league team, and they got Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Mountain. Like those are solid, like 2-way. I mean, I guess you wouldn't say those are wings, but they are kind of wings. Like they are big enough to play defense for real. Like those are wing-ish players.
Yeah, Kyle Anderson's a wing if Draymond's a wing. I don't really know what position. I mean, sure. And then Melton's a wing. Melton's definitely a
6'10" wingspan.
Small, like he guards the best guards. You probably you're not putting him on the small forwards though. Anyway, better execution for sure. You know what my read is? We didn't really talk about this, but Dunleavy spoke to the media on I want to say Friday, and you know, a theme he said in so many different interviews, but it's like shooting, and it's just very clear to me if the Warriors had their way, they're trying to build a team like the Celtics. That's what they're trying to do. Now, I'm not saying they've been 100% successful, but like if you want to talk about like basketball philosophy, you know, when I look at Boston, I see multiple great point of attack defenders, you know, Derek White and obviously Drew Holiday is best of the best, right? I see multiple two-way wings. All their bigs are 3-point shooters. They play 5-out shooting from every position, and it's unguardable. It's unguardable even though they don't have a top 5 player. You know, like Tatum and Brown are awesome, but I don't think anyone would say they're top 5 players in the NBA today, right? But the system and just the amount of shooting and defense they have plays. And you could tell that's what the Warriors want to do. You could tell if the Warriors had their way, they would surround Steph with a great point of attack defender, a couple two-way wings, and Draymond, and everyone would be a shooting threat so you couldn't guard it, right? Debatable if they've actually been able to execute it, but that's definitely that's what they're trying to go for. I think that I think that's what Dunleavy wants.
I think we've seen that 3-point shooting because the volume that they've shot it at the last couple of years jives with what you're saying, right? I honestly feel like they've been shooting too much, and they put all these shooters on the floor, and they're just hooking up, 43s a game with really no other way to score, which is, I think, frustrated guys, which is why kind of Chris Paul was on the team last season. Steph talked about a changeup. But then in another way, it's like, well, you got to get better shooters, right? Think about, and we'll get to this part at the end of the show. Like, think about Lauri Markkanen, right? Would he not be the perfect fit? I mean, you could argue he's just as good, if not better, than Kristaps Porzingis. Definitely a better shooter, right? You just put him out there as a shooter, and then you've got other guys that kind of two-way wings would be Wiggins, would be Kuminga, maybe, right? And then if he's on the team, Moody, stuff like that, right? Then all of a sudden you've got that, what you're saying, two-way players around, just pure shooting at probably every spot except for Draymond. Although Draymond shot 39-40% last year, so he might be shooting.
And it's to your point, it's like it's shooters, but shooters who can do more than just shoot the ball, so like in Lowry's case, obviously shooting is like the thing that stands out, but the dude can finish inside. He put some poster dunks on on film all over the place. Like he definitely uses his size. Like if you guard him, he'll get into the lane and do other stuff. Obviously Steph can do whatever the fuck he wants, but like shooting opens it up. So it's like it's clear where they're trying to go with it. And it jives with the entire direction of the league.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll get to some Lowry. We'll get to what you've heard around something. Before we do that, Light Years Podcast, we are brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS, daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. So all you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. And with the finals over, the hoops action doesn't stop on PrizePicks. Women's basketball is still heating up. With stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, you can win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. PrizePicks available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LightYears for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LightYears on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. And we are brought to you by Game Time. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the tip-off. Priority last-minute deals. You could save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Flash deals save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. And you got zone deals, so save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. You got all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. And they've got the lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take a guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LightYears for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LIGHTYEARS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price. Guaranteed.
Yeah, man. Oh, I have another day, by the way. I'm still in Vegas until tomorrow, but I am hitting that like it's time for you to get back to real life, buddy. Time to get out.
Usually I feel like that's like the second day. I feel like the older you get, it's like maybe sorry. It used to be like the third day where I'm like, okay, I think I'm done, back in my mid-20s. Then the older you get, you're like, first day and a half. I think that's about it. It's 115 degrees out there. I think this might be it. I've got what I needed.
I have definitely, yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. I got in Friday night. My flight got delayed, so I actually missed most of Friday. But obviously, I got to meet up with some friends who are here, go out at night, have a good time that way. Yesterday was kind of all day with Summer League and whatnot. And today I'll get some good Summer League in, watch the Warriors again, and by nighttime I'll be like, it's time. I'm ready to go back home. So that's about right. The funny thing about Summer League, at least for like me, you end up talking with so many people, and it's like the funniest, like could totally do some fake, like, sources are telling me this is what I'm hearing. It's Summer League. This is what I'm hearing. And I was like, and I don't do that, guys. That's like not my thing or anything like that. But it is kind of funny how many different people have different opinions on what's going on with the Lowry Markkanen thing. That's a big thing. I took away.
Did it dominate the conversations? Like, was it like 50% of the stuff that people talked about? Like, that was interesting. Like, well, I guess what are the other topics?
And like, honestly, like, I mean, people want to talk with me about the Warriors. Like, people aren't coming to me to be like, Jared McCain, dude's a hooper, Although, by the way, he is my favorite. He is my favorite rookie. Wow. I think he's gonna be good, but that's a different conversation.
Painted nails for you, huh? Yeah.
Just watch his shot. It's not Steph Curry level. It's like, but like the tier below that. I'm like, guy who shoots it this well with high IQ, he will be better than people think, So, but anyway, Daryl Morey, generally good at this thing. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of, I swear, like everyone I talk to, 50% of the people are like, Warriors are kind of the only offer out there. So they got the best offer, blah, blah, blah. And the other 50% are like, Ainge isn't going to do it. Ainge isn't going to do it. He's just playing games. You don't want to be negotiating with Danny Ainge, So it's like, I don't know that any of that stuff is new information. It's just kind of like, it's fun because it's like, everyone's like, oh, I like the moves the Warriors made. And if they could get Lowry, that's like the A+ of A+ off seasons. But can they get him? Danny, a decade ago, he's like, they treat him like he's like the fucking Michael Jordan of GMs. Like, you don't want to negotiate with Danny Ainge. You're going to lose.
I find it interesting to go back a little bit. You said that some people are basically saying that the Warriors have the only offer on the table. I think that's hilarious. I think that's, I mean, from what you read online, it's like, oh, this team is interested. That the Kings are still gearing up for a move to Lowry, and the Spurs are still, they're still in the race, and there's mystery team here and there. There's always a mystery team here and there. So it's hilarious to me that the Warriors, I've thought this whole time that the Warriors are the most desperate team out of all those guys, which is why they'll end up getting him. And that looks like it'll track. I guess the question is, there is a chance that he just renegotiates his contract and resigns, and that would be kind of the most boring outcome of this entire thing. Sounds like the most likely.
I mean, we don't really know him that well. Like, he's not like Steph or LeBron where like he's so front and center. You have a kind of a read on his personality, but it's hard to imagine a guy like him who hasn't been a max player in this league is going to say no if they put 200 million in front of him. That's the other aspect of it. It's like, no one really has a read on like what Utah's doing here, and maybe that's the Danny Ainge effect. He like purposely wants to make everyone feel a certain way about it. So we all know the deal, dude. August 6th, that's the day. He'll either sign the extension or he won't. So my read on everything around Summer League and like talking to random people and that sort of thing is like, yeah, it's just going to be a game of misinformation between now and then. It just is, you know. It's in Utah's best interest to try to scare the Warriors and other teams into upping, bidding against themselves. Let's put it that way, like bid against themselves. But yeah, it definitely was like a huge conversation topic, and I was. It's like one of those things where it's like there's not a lot else going on. You know, there's not a lot of moves. It's kind of a slow off season right now. You know, like you just look at the other teams in the West. No one's really done much. Like the Lakers haven't done anything. The Kings got DeRozan. Like that's been the flashiest move. The Thunder got Isaiah Hartenstein. Like it's not been the normal NBA offseason where I feel like there's like 40 bazillion things.
Even if the Lowry trade does happen, like it's not right. It's not like you could argue maybe the Paul George move was in terms of name cachet, like that's kind of the bigger move. But I think if you're talking about though, like the team that gets better, the Warriors win the offseason if that trade happens. I think final thing maybe before we get out of here, I think it'll be fascinating to me if Lowry, because we haven't heard, I don't think we've ever heard Lowry speak, not just Warriors fans, just like NBA fans as a whole. I wonder if we find out maybe that like we're gonna find out like does he want to play for a team that has a chance to win something, or is he content just getting paid the most amount of money, right? Because or is he saying like, hey, if I go play with the Warriors, at least I go to get to play with Steph, I get to get extended and paid after the season. Is he somebody that does that? My vibe, like most NBA players, probably not, because he's never made quote unquote that much money.
That's so much money,
right?
It's like
It's
big
and he's not Jalen Brunson
number to put in front of you.
Yeah. Like he's not. His dad doesn't own the team, doesn't own the Warriors, right? Maybe so it's a little different. You talk to it sounds like when you're saying you wouldn't be surprised if he resigned, but we hope that doesn't happen, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, like it's a whole mystery thing. And then you know what the Warriors need to do? I need Joe Lacob to start getting start doing some dirty recruiting. Be like, forget that check. I get you some equity in OpenAI. I'll get you in on all the next $1 billion companies in the Bay Area. You're going to make 50 times as much here. Don't worry about it. Start doing that. So, I mean, honestly, they probably are doing that stuff.
Probably, I was going to say,
right?
I would hope so.
Yeah. So I don't know, wait it out, but yeah, man, it is kind of like the number one thing people are talking to me about around Summer League. It's like, hey, how are you doing? Hey, what's up with the Lowry Markkanen thing? I don't fucking know. You tell me. You have sources, not me, buddy. So, yeah,
we really are going to be. Isn't Danny Ainge there too? Here's what you're doing tonight, Sam. You're going up to Danny. You're going up to Danny.
I'll find him. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a
I'll
trade
be like,
offer.
let's make a deal.
PrizePicks.
What if we throw in the Oakland A's? Vegas deal falling apart. I know Salt Lake was interested in a Major League Baseball team.
Danny's like, who? What?
Let's get it done. Let's get it done, Danny. You're built for baseball trades. I need you running a baseball team and getting your Farhan on, just negotiating. That's up and down. Like, yeah, let's get it done, Danny.
Good stuff.
Alrighty. I'm gonna get out of here. Appreciate everyone. We'll be back. You guys